Hi everyone, you're listening to the Vialucci podcast, uncensored and completely unedited discussions about life and everything in it. We hope you enjoy the show.
You did wash those cups, didn't you? That is your coffee spilt down the side.
Yeah. I didn't just. I rinsed them a couple. Hi, welcome to the show,
everyone. Yeah,
I was trying
Hello.
when I was doing Louis' cup. I was trying to dry it off, but they only had toilet
Louis,
roll in there.
our audio.
Oh yeah,
producer.
he's known. He's known around town.
Is he? He's known around town.
Always say, don't put my name onto the show. He said.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't put my name to this.
Yeah.
BMOC, big man on campus.
Big BMOC. Big mock.
Big
Did you just make that up?
No, I read it in a 60s comic book.
Oh, even back then they were using these sort of.
I think they just made it up. I think Stan Lee just made it up.
What did it stand for?
Big man on campus.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to get.
Hi everyone, how are you?
What an odd,
Podcast.
even by the usual standard, this has been just a series of rambling non sequiturs.
What did you?
To loop it back, I did wash the cups.
Okay. Yeah. So you just did it. You can't dry up with toilet roll. It just
No.
disintegrates.
What? You can't dry up with toilet
You
roll?
have you ever tried to dry yourself a toilet roll after a shower?
Oh yeah, specifically.
It's very unsatisfying.
No, I was
yeah.
trying to dry Louis' cup, to clean it, but then in a toilet roll. I didn't get the one that was in the toilet, but it was just disintegrating. So I was having to clean up the tissue that was stuck to the cup from the cleaning.
I did that once in a hostel. I realised that I didn't have a towel, and I left my towel on the bed,
Right.
on the rack I was sleeping.
The old
on.
excuse.
And so I just used all this toilet roll, and I sort of came
No
out
way.
with bits stuck to me.
That's impossible.
Well, yes.
But did you not have, like, for
satisfactory.
example, your T-shirt like that you?
I did,
changed
but then
into?
it was just so. I think I needed to wear the t-shirt. That was the thing. So
You had the
clothes
one
I was-
T-shirt.
Well, one item of cloth.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably
a
actually.
loincloth.
Just think of the options you would have had. Sock.
Anything.
Sock.
But before
Well, maybe
tissue.
a sock would be great. Yeah.
Sock. I'm going to use that to
clean.
wipe my arse. to be honest.
No, I'd already used it on my arse.
Yeah, well, I've used up all the toilet roll. I've got to use something to wipe my arse.
Oh, this isn't what we
Hi
want.
everyone,
Yeah.
podcasting.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was the anecdote you had that you wanted to talk about?
Oh well, it was a documentary. But while I remember, I used to live with someone when I was in a house share, just talking about tissues. Still to this day, I want to be like, what was that about? I mean, they were really like, you live with someone, and nobody's perfect.
Is this
I'm
the
sure-
Berlin Wall thing?
No.
Oh.
This is something different entirely. It's
Okay.
not the Berlin Wall. This is just we're riffing in the conversation. You were talking about tissue.
Oh, okay,
So anytime we went into the shower after she'd been in, there'd just be like tissue, like wet tissue splattered around the inside of like the shower. We didn't have one of a kind of walk-in shower. It was a bath, with a shower head, and it was just like, is she like using tissue as a sponge or something, or what's going on? Because it wasn't like, as you say, you'd think like, oh, maybe she's using tissue to dry herself, which is weird, and only a lunatic would do that. But it was one of those things you just thought, I don't want to ask, because this sounds like, obviously I can't, particularly because it was a female, I can't be like, so how do you wash yourself in the shower? But
And also, it just might be a women's thing. I don't know. Like, it's just one of those things that, like, I don't know what goes on down there. Yeah.
I don't
She just goes red and you're sorry. I didn't. I hope there's an answer to this.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it
You
just
never
wanted to.
found out?
No, because it didn't. Well, there were so many things. Eventually, she got kicked out of the house.
Maybe she's cleaning the condensation.
She got kicked out for what? Sorry.
She was very messy. Her brother moved in without telling anyone. Like, he was there for a couple of weeks.
Or was he living in the loft or something?
No, living in her, like, I guess sleeping on the floor or whatever, or when it's siblings, you can share a bed and whatever. But it was just like,
It's disrespectful. to us.
well, it was just the fact we wouldn't have minded, but we're just like, we'd be sitting in the living room and this guy would come down, go into the fridge, get his, and like, do we have a squatter? Who are you?
Yeah.
Hi.
That was genius. I spent the whole summer. Me and a friend, we just moved into another friend's house.
Yeah.
And we just lived in his living room for like, honestly, about 3 or 4 months as well. It was a long time. And I got a job around the corner as well. So like I was working as well and like just living there. And they were too scared to say anything. Like and we were there like playing video games till like 6 in the morning, and like we'd sleep like 2 or 3 hours on the floor, and like they'd come in and like and be cooking breakfast and doing their normie kind of routines, and we'd just be like passed out, just like literally. Like,
And then after a while, it's too embarrassing to ask, "Who are you?" Like
they never did. They were too scared. It was genius.
too scared.
Yeah.
Oh god. So, what was your anecdote about Berlin Wall?
It's not even about the Berlin Wall. It was just with other regimes collapsing recently. It was just a very timely,
Trump?
yeah. Now this isn't one of those things like Trump is like the Nazis. It was just a very interesting thing that it was the documentary called Berlin 1945, so nothing to do with the Berlin Wall, although there were walls at that time, and it was to do with the fall and then the occupation of Berlin in 1945.
Okay.
And it was just very interesting. It was told primarily from the perspective of people who lived in, so Germans, rather than, you did hear from Russian troops, you did hear from Allied troops, etc., but it was predominantly from the civilians' point of view. And there were some who were saying, yeah, it was really, interesting. We all knew what was going on with the Jewish population. We all knew what was happening. We all knew what was done to them. But then suddenly, once the city fell, once we lost the war, everyone was like, "Oh, I sheltered loads of Jews in my attic. Oh, I fed. I made sure there was food given to the. I would always take it to the ghetto."
All of a sudden, there were no parts.
Yeah, there were
soon as Hitler popped himself.
That's what they said. Everyone said, "Oh no, I was never a member of the party. Oh, I was secretly
just for
working."
business connections.
Yeah. Oh, I was secretly working with the German resistance. Oh, I was.
But that's what the Republicans are going to do. They're going to say,
and that's what I'm saying. I just thought it interesting.
It was me that was leaking.
Yeah, I thought it's going to be interesting. They're all going to be when Trump goes. And again, this isn't, we're not saying the Republicans and the Nazis are the same thing, but it did make me go.
This book you've given me,
Yes.
the Trumpisms.
Yeah.
So what is that what he said?
These are things he's actually said.
So he said, to be blunt, people would vote for me. They just would. Why? Maybe because I'm so good looking.
Yeah, these are things he's.
Oh yeah, New York Times.
Yeah, these are.
Oh, 99.
They're what's the term? I can't remember now. Attributions, would that be the word? Basically, everything has its has a reference of where it's taken from.
Right,
so none of these aren't made up. These
These
aren't
proper attributed quotes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Attributions. What am I talking about? These are, but these are real quotes. Basically, I'm moving house, so I'm having a clear out.
Oh, right, yeah.
And also because Theo is a dear friend of mine, so I'd love to.
How's it going, the moving out thing?
We're moving around the corner. It's literally pointless.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're only moving because our landlord's selling. Hi, welcome to the podcast, everyone. It's free. You're not paying, so shut your face.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a free podcast.
This is a free podcast.
We need to get a little thingy.
Like that should be the jingle.
So when are you moving out then?
In about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Have you got a lot to move?
Fair old bit, yeah.
Oh, okay. What you got? What you in a room? You shared?
No, it's in a house.
No, but I mean it's a room. You shared.
What do you do? Sleep over a rope?
So I wash myself with
like
toilet paper.
Like a sloth. He just hangs on a piece of rope.
I read that in a history book. When I was like 9, I remember reading a history book that like in Victorian England, people would sleep over a rope. They'd string up a rope.
Oh, the penny.
in
called?
in like a room, and then they'd have like a dozen dudes just like slung over the middle of it, and like they'd pay like a penny.
Yeah, a penny.
Yeah,
it's called a penny. And they would literally, you can see photographs online where there's just people just sort of
I've seen photographs,
leaning forward asleep.
It stuck with me.
It's sort of like if you imagine that exhaustion, I'm sure we've all seen on the train. You think, well, how can people, you see people bobbing and falling asleep and whatnot. It's that kind of level of exhaustion that they would just lean on.
Mental, physical, lack of nutrition. Yeah, I mean, when I saw that photograph, these people just like in a row. You think that's not real. No, that's real. They pay like a penny or whatever it was just to. I mean, I can see us like some of the places I'd seen when I was moving. I was thinking eventually you're not going to have your own room. There's just going to be sort of like Velcro sleeping bags, and you just slot yourself in next to somebody, just Velcro yourself up against the wall, and it's sort of like that's the fairground rides where everyone's up against the wall.
That's something that our now landlady was saying when we went round to view the house. She was we were asking, has there been much interest, etc. And she said, like, yeah, but there's, I'm sort of getting the impression that people want to be here with 15 other people. It's a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah, I remember I've had that. People in some jobs, people have asked me that. Where do you live? And I'm like, some house. How many of you live there? I don't know, 4, 5, 6, however many they were living there. Like, how many rooms do you have? And I'm like, well, 4, 5, or 6. That's like we'll have our own room. And they were like, what?
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And like the people told me they sleep in shifts. Some people. And there were people, particularly when I was working night shifts at this place, like one place. That people was specifically working night shifts so that they could sleep during the day, and then the other person could have the bed at night.
That's sickening.
Again, this is like Victorian England.
It's like, when's the snapping point? They always say it's when the police and the army are suffering as much as so when they can't afford a room, that's when law starts breaking down, because they think, well, I'm not working if I can barely feed myself. And it always comes to that. It's like with the Korean, North Korean, they say, why there's so much a black market, it's because they're taking backhanders because they have to survive themselves as soldiers. Like, they have to be con artists to get the money themselves. And they say it always falls when the army and the police, they can't afford to live somewhere, because corruption would just keep going until it snaps. There's no off switch. They don't learn anything. They just have to keep rapacious. It has to keep bringing in stuff in until it snaps.
Well, and people have to be in a position where they have nothing to lose. I mean, this is why I don't think there's going to be a revolution or a civil war in America anytime soon. Because I think the vast majority of people are still relatively well.
You've still got £800 iPhones in your.
Well, they're still relatively well. Most people are still relatively comfortable. There's not enough absolute desperation yet. I mean, for poverty,
when we reach the point where there's a trillionaire, that will be the most offensive thing. Because I still find it disgusting now that there's a thing called a billionaire. That in the future will be in a medical journal, sickness, psychology disorders, billionaire. Like, you can't stop, and that's when the corruption comes in. Because when you've got unlimited money, that thing inside you has to be fed. But if everyone's got unlimited money, you then have to be about power. I need power. The money's irrelevant now. I need power. One who's a really rich guy, and he was a nice guy actually, and he said to me that some of the people that he's known would laugh at him, like saying he's loaded and all that. He's probably got about 10 mil. And he said, compared to some people, like used to work in cities in property, he said they laugh at me. He said you have to understand that to a lot of people, everything's free. He said that thing you have in life, breathe, eat, sleep, and how much does it cost? You have to try and remove that. He said because they have so much money coming in, investments and property stuff, probably stuff they're given to them anyway from parents. He said they're hundreds of millions. He said they don't think what something costs. That never comes into it. It's just, I want that. Let me have it. Let me buy a house. Right, I like that. Knock it down. Build it up the way I want. Cars, irrelevant. He told me if you go to Park Lane and you ask how much the car is, they'll immediately know you're full of shit. He said, because why would you need to? You don't deal with this sort of people.
It's 150 grand. You can't afford it.
Yeah. These are people that buy two cars in different colours, or one's got different. Well, he said, if you ask, it's because okay, I've got to deal with this bloody idiot now. We're trying to cut corners, and it is. Don't have to ask. He said, so what they have to do is, these people that got unlimited amounts of money, they have to invent the cost of stuff, because they can't. All their mates can buy the same things. There's no point. Everything's hundreds of millions. He said they have to have exclusivity. This is why you get art that's worth like $7 million, or number plates is another thing. Look, there's only one of those. You can't have that. You can't buy another one. So they have to create. Oh, look, that's just one art there. That's like one thing there, because everyone's rich, so it doesn't matter. But he said, to think if you walked out the house today and you didn't think about cost, everything was free. You got coffee, food, clothes, house, and never think of it. That's how some people go through life.
You're like a psychopath, basically, like a gangster. But
psychopath.
If this is all mine.
500
everything
million,
is mine. I can just take whatever I want.
You just stop asking how much stuff costs. Like that thing that's like you think breathing and asking how much something costs. Like that's in you. No, that just goes. If everything was free, so that's how they go through life. He said to me, I can't remember the story. He said he was with a guy and he was quite young, and he said he was a big dude, big chubby dude, and he was in finance, this fella, and he said. Was it Liverpool Street? I think it was Liverpool Street. That were these bar bistro sort of things. And he said, "I'm going to take this girl. I think she was Eastern European. I can't remember where she was from." And he said, and he's like, yeah. And he came over, and he put his he had his keys in his hand. And he said, he was saying, I'm not saying he's ugly, but he said he's a big guy. And he said to this girl, "I would like to come on a date with me." Blah blah. And she said, "Oh, no, I'm just trying to get work and money and things like that." She's looking at him thinking, "You're having a laugh." And he said, this is what he said. He said, "How about nothing's happening. We're just going to go on a date. I'll take you to the shops. You've got £5,000 to spend." And he said, anyway, so she agreed, picked her up just one day. He said, "That's it, one day. £5,000, we have some fun, blah. Nothing's going to happen. I'll drop you home." But once you've got a taste for that, he picks her up in the Porsche or whatever. I think it was actually a Porsche. Take her out, blah, blah, blah. Take her home. She's now thinking, he's not that bad a guy. Because, they convince themselves it's not, and that's not,
And Donald and Melania have been happily married ever since that day.
And he said, he took her out, blah, blah, bought her some clothes, said, would you like to come away with me? I think it was a few weeks or a few months, whenever it was, when they were together for 8 months. There you go, just money.
Have you seen who Salma Hayek is married to?
I don't know who she is.
Salma Hayek is a
actress,
very talented actor in Hollywood, and she's very successful.
Something I'd know.
Desperado? Seen that with Antonio Banderas?
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Oh, the old film. Something.
She's in
Ponytailed.
Dawn.
Pirates. She's in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean films, I think.
I mean, we've all been in one of those. There's been about 48 now, hasn't there?
It just must have been the Avengers. No, everybody.
No, actually not. Yeah, she'd be good in one.
She would. Yeah, she's good. She seems like a clever
Frida
lady.
Kahlo.
Frida Kahlo. That was the major role. She won an Oscar.
So what's the?
Did she win an Oscar for that?
I think nominated.
She was certainly nominated.
Yeah, nominated.
Anyway.
Yes, she is married to a Goblin Man. And she is a very attractive lady. She's 50, I think she's 52 or something, and she's still stunning. I mean, she really is. I was like,
but she's got her own money.
She does, but he's literally a hedge fund guy. I think he's worth 6 or 7 or 8 billion or something. And all of a sudden, he looks like
Goblin.
I don't know. He looks like he's been left in the oven for about 13 hours. He looks like a dried out husk of a human.
Is he loaded? I'm assuming.
Oh, he is.
Some billionaire.
7 or 8 billion or something. He's literally a hedge fund guy. And he's a French dude. I think he's nasty.
Oh, Alex is providing us. Alex, our producer, is providing us with
I can see why I like her.
Yes, as I said, she's
very intelligent.
Salma Hayek.
She's very talented.
Very talented.
She looks very talented in the photos.
She is. And honestly, she's like...
Goodbye to all our female listeners. It's been nice having you.
But she's in her 50s and she's still... Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. I'm assuming that's
he's not a goblin man.
He is a goblin man.
It's very unkind.
She's a heck of a woman and...
very talented.
Yeah, look. He's about 70 as well.
That's a dad photo, that is.
Yeah, honestly, like...
I suppose he's not a goblin man. He's not like in this. She's very glamorous, and obviously he
makes her look bad.
No, but
makes him look bad.
He looks like a kind of you know, because you can have men who have a sort of I don't know if there's glamour to me always seem like that's female, so I don't know what the apologies. Okay, you can have a glamorous man. We all know what I mean, right? A
himbo.
A what? Sorry,
a himbo.
Oh, bimbo.
Oh, a himbo.
Yes,
is
male bimbo. Apparently,
shouldn't that be mimbo then?
It's a himbo. I don't make the rules.
They both work,
okay.
yeah.
I'm just on the internet too much. Okay.
Ask America.
He is. His net worth is 44.1 billion.
Oh, I was slightly off.
That's a sickness.
I think he's one of the richest people in the world, actually. Yeah, I think he's in the. I read it in the National Enquirer that he's. I think he was in the top 10 or something. And all of these guys, they had their significant others because they are mostly guys.
Yeah.
I think they're all guys.
Yeah, probably.
Yay team. But and all their significant others. There's such a disparity in looks. I mean, they're about a 2 or a 3, and they're like going out with like 8s and 9s.
Alex, how did he make his money? Is it like a retail tech?
I mean, probably arms dealing when there's that kind of money.
Money laundering for the Bulgarian mob.
You're going to be selling battleships to a...
He's the chairman and CEO of Kerem.
A tech company.
It is a international group specialising in luxury goods.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought that'd be 44
so battleships then. Yeah, battleships.
Luxury.
Like, do you want this gold-plated frigate as you slaughter this coastal
Russian
region?
casinos, basically.
How do you get to 5?
But like classically, his dad was worth 42.9.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
He's
shortcutted.
So in case people didn't catch that, so this what is this man's name? So we don't call him Goblin Man because it's really unkind.
The name's stuck now.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Too late.
Jareth, the Goblin King.
Hey, that's Rudy Giuliani. Come on.
No, we can't besmirch poor old Francois Henri Pinault. That's my.
He might as well be 44 billion.
Yeah,
but if you get to 5, I mean, I've made so many allowances. Just 1 billion, and not think. Right, let's just take 10 billion. Right, that's just mental.
I think when you get to 1, because
you'd
you'd just be like, that could almost be like, well, the interest just keeps coming. What am I supposed to do?
How can you not go? Look, we could change like the whole of societies with this. Like, no.
Well, it's Kanye West running for president, isn't it?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, he spent. I think it was something in one state. He spent something like 10 million. and two people from this podcast I listened to, the two hosts, they said he could have done more good just standing on a corner handing out 20s.
Yeah.
Like just a bit, especially now, where everyone is struggling.
Just post stuff on Twitter. I mean, I'm sure he's got quite a few followers on Twitter and stuff. Just do that. Like, honestly.
Yeah, but
that's a scam. Like when rich people get approached, like who was it? It was American guy ran. What's the?
I need more information.
TV. He runs TV network. There's a news network.
Fox News.
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Bloomberg ran this as well for a bit.
Yeah, late, didn't he? He came like.
Well, that's when some political campaign advisor guy gets in their ear and starts saying, "Hey, you could be president. My fee's $40,000 a day."
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you get these guys, Kanye West, Bloomberg's. And then they have these weird. So you like, why the hell are they running? They have no backing in their political thing, and it's just because someone's gotten there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Someone's sort of buffing up their ego and their vanity, and there's people are making a hell of a lot of money off.
That was good when they were on the stage with him and Trump, and they said, "What is it like running against another billion?" No, what is it like running against billionaires? And he went, "Who's the other billionaire?" And Trump was stood right there.
Wow. Meow.
He's from New York. He knows it worth subtle. Did I tell you in the book what was the one with the aunt, the niece?
Oh, the Mary Trump's book.
Mary Trump, yeah. She said because the
How My Family Made, whatever he's called, whatever she calls him.
The Melania and Thing didn't like each other. What's the daughter called?
Which one?
Ivanka
or Tiffany?
Ivanka.
No one cares
the
about
main
Tiffany.
one. Yeah, must be the main.
Poor
Ivanka.
Tiffany.
She said they don't like it. They really don't like each other because she's the first lady, obviously, but really Ivanka wants to be like the head female in the thing. And she said she would always call her behind her back. The
bottom bitch, it's called, yeah.
She said she would always refer to her.
What? That's your top hoe. Your top hoe.
I've been watching.
I'd like to apologise.
You're watching Channel 5 shows.
No, your top hoe's the bottom bitch, and she's the one you go to. She's your go-to hoe.
You're technically
She keeps the other hoes in line.
But she said she always refers to.
Is this prison lingo or?
It is,
This is the pimp talk.
Yeah.
Pimp world.
Street lang.
Yeah.
But she said she always referred to Melania.
It's a real thing, man.
She always referred to Melania as the painting.
Oh,
She's just nothing, just like this face. She says, "Where's the painting?" all the time. Think how offensive, just that flat face.
I feel like, Charles, you should come in with a disclaimer either before or afterwards, very quickly, being like, a pimp would say, because it just sounds like just spelling.
Listen to NWA DVDs again.
I saw that on The Shield. If anyone ever watched
okay.
that, The Shield was a very good cop drama in the noughties that was pretty extreme at the time.
Did you see the NWA film? I never did.
No,
Straight out of Compton.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Is that any good? I never really.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of. I wouldn't say it necessarily tells you anything you don't know if you know.
Well, how does it end?
So it ends with.
He's like the movie reviewers is panicking. Spoiler alert!
Just in case anyone's wondering, Eazy-E dies.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they go into
Darth Vader is father.
Is it AIDS?
I believe it was AIDS, wasn't it? Or AIDS-related illness would be more accurate.
I'm assuming that's drugs, is it? Not.
No, he was very much into the ladies, but as in a lot of ladies, not like one lady gave him.
Did you see that sort of thing today? Hungary's been having problems with like right-wing government.
Oh, I did see this
Viktor
tweet.
Orban, yeah.
And the fella that's been right against the LGBTQ. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. Well done.
I mean, some people would argue that there's more letters, but yes, that's fine.
And so
I saw there was a sex scandal. I saw the headline. I didn't read it.
Yeah, he was really against them. Like, get down with this, down.
Hang on. Okay, I don't know the story.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know the story. I haven't read it.
Is there some hypocrisy?
So you're talking about some man who was very, very vocal and anti-LGBT. I wonder how this story's going to... I don't know. Come on, Theo. Let's find out.
Well, apparently it's a hypocrite because he got caught climbing out of a window of a 21-man orgy.
I heard 20. I heard 25.
24, all fake news. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of dicks, isn't it?
Yeah, well, 23.
Yeah, I mean, geez.
But just the...
That's tiring, isn't it? I mean, God.
It's this thing of anyone that's sort of extreme. You go, why are you so angry? Okay, right, there's something going on.
Mike Pence, isn't it?
Mike Pence, yeah, I was going to say it's it's that Republican thing of like for the freedom and right and family, and they're all banging kids and the church thing as well. These millionaire he's had 4 wives and one of them's a young black guy who's got a company. You go, it's anyone who's got that extreme person. You go, come on, what are you hiding? Why are you so angry? That guy. That was. Really reminded me of that.
So if anyone
Lest
doesn't
we
know,
forget.
if anyone doesn't know, this is this a sort of
he's a Hungarian activist,
TV evangelist.
Kenneth
him.
Copeland.
Him.
Kenneth Copeland,
yeah. And he's very strange, and
That
he kind of
video,
looks
man.
like he's a puppet of himself. Like he's his own ventriloquist.
He
dummy
looks
that's
like
been
somebody who
possessed.
would work for the devil. That's the
Yeah.
weird
Yes,
thing. And he's
yes.
preaching God. And then the way he's acting, you go, that is something out of a horror film. Like that is mental. No, just that buffer of money again. I think he's got 4 like private airlines,
Probably.
but that buffer of delusion that doesn't get countered and it just carries on. So you think you've lost complete perspective of how you're coming across. But then you've got the people following him. That's literally a cult.
Yeah.
That's a full like nobody's going, I'm getting out of here. He's a nutter. I went when I was in America. I went to a church with somebody.
I'd love it if someone just stuck their hand up in the middle of him going, ha,
Are you all right?
Why is everyone laughing? I don't understand.
Kill it with fire.
I was in America and I went to the church with somebody because I was there and they went to church. And it was fine. The next time I went there, they went to another church and it was a small church. And it got a bit weird. And I had to say to them, it was one of these spiritual guys where he's putting his hand on somebody's head. But it was small and it's up like the hills in Malibu. And he was doing it to someone. I thought,
Mr.
you're
Hollywood
embarrassing that. But he was like a kid. So it wasn't working, but he was sort of pushing him. And I literally said to the person, I've got to go out of it. I've got to get out of it. I'm going to go and sit. I didn't even say anything else. I thought, this is disgusting. Like, I'm going to end up by saying something. But the guy, the preacher who was already in there, he'd spoken to people on the way and he'd already annoyed me, some of the stupid things he was saying. But then I'd seen them bring around the pew thing.
What with the cash?
And no, it had a fucking PDQ machine on it. And that offended
What's a
me.
PDQ machine?
You know, you put your card over
a
thing.
card reader.
And I think of seeing the visuals of that. That's what I saw it coming around. And as it was getting nearer me, I was thinking, what is this?
I bet it's a set amount as well, was it?
No. The person I was with had to do the thing that they gave 10% of their wages every
tithes,
year.
yeah.
I thought it was only certain religions, but it's just Christian.
No.
But they did it.
I've got family members who do that.
It was the fact of seeing that machine on there. It's like, how can you not see how disgusting that is? And he was just a bloody idiot. And the weird thing is, the people I was being introduced to, one was like a rich bloke. His girlfriend was like a Hollywood stunt actress, this Asian girl, like trying to fit. And they talked to them, and they're like quite nice. She said, I do stunts for this person. And you think, there was only about 30 people in there as well. But it got to the point where I literally had to say, which I never do. I said, I'm going to go and sit in the car. I can't even watch this. Like, this is starting to F me off. And she was smart. She wasn't stupid. But, just the lunacy of it all. I just can't. It's like, we should have passed all this, like, decades ago, but we're still doing it. We've slipped back down the bloody thing again.
I've been watching a lot of daytime TV as I've been working from home for the last month.
Right.
It's been a fabulous
We meant to
experience.
sound shocked. Sorry.
It's been a fabulous experience.
Is this the phone call thing? Have you moved on from that?
No, I'm doing emails.
Oh, okay.
Is
Just
this a different
so that people
No,
aren't
it's the same
thinking
thing. It's the same thing.
Charles is not a phone sex worker.
No.
He's still doing the phone thing.
No, Mike. No, it's not.
Clarify
It's
that.
not a COVID response track and trace thing. It's but I'm doing a thing for the nurses.
Yeah, okay. Right.
For health service. And I watched a woman the other day, and she was doing
On TV.
Yeah, she was a
Not through the window.
she was a psychic, and she was doing readings of cats' paws.
No.
And
No,
they
she
showed
wasn't.
pictures. The pictures of cats' paws are cool because I was like, oh, look at that fluffy paw. Look at that fluffy paw. Oh, that's so fluffy. And like, I was like, that's really cool. So I like the pictures of the cat's paws. But then she was, so she was doing she was saying what the cat thought. So she was reading telepathically. She was telepathically communicating with a cat. Right? So I was like, okay. So
You know you're laughing at mental illness. Shame on you.
Okay, she's charging like a lot for this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is the thing. Okay, so she is telepathically communicating with a cat. And I'm like, okay, so telepathy exists. You're telepathically communicating with a cat.
But what's the cat saying? I just want to eat and shit.
The cats have language, apparently, that you can understand.
Yeah, but its brain is fairly sort of...
Well,
why would you communicate with it like an ant?
But this is the thing. It's even if a cat could talk English, and you wouldn't be able to understand it because it has no
Liechtenstein.
conceptual shared ground. They wouldn't be able to share how they thought and what they thought about the world.
Yeah, that's a Wittgenstein quote, isn't it?
Yeah,
If a lion could.
Yeah, there's a line. Yeah, very good. It's true.
What's the quote? Sorry.
It's a Wittgenstein. He said, if a lion could speak English, you wouldn't understand what he's saying because it's references.
Oh,
so,
it's a philosophy of language. It's really interesting, actually. So, okay, lions. So, cats, you telepathically communicate with cats. You understand the cats.
I don't know why, but go on.
Then,
Yeah.
the cats can also tell the future.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Cats have
Turning the knife in my stomach here.
So I was like, okay. So the cats could tell the future, and then she was relaying what the cat. She was relaying what the cat was predicting the future, the predictions the cat was making.
Yeah. Did he know about Trump? I mean, what?
No, but then also she was able to read. Some of the cats were reincarnations of people in past lives, and she was reading. I swear this is true. I couldn't make this up.
At this point, I'd say, hold on, lovely. Let me get my pen. Right, so the cat.
This is what I was saying. I was like, there's a lot going on. So there's a lot to unpack here.
But what's the thing is, you can't go, oh, the cat can see the future. He goes, the cat's future is, what do you see about the future? Well, he said something about a mouse and a sparrow. He's not going to tell you about Trump or like the national lottery numbers.
Well, you're saying, oh, you're going to move in the next year.
No, but that doesn't make any sense. He doesn't know you. So how does the cat not go, yeah, I can see the future. I can see 4 mice and a sparrow and a...
She did say one thing. She said, this cat, we lived in America and we just moved from America. So this is an American cat. We were English. We lived in America for a while. Now we moved back to England. So this is an American cat that's moved to England. And the cat wasn't very happy. It missed America.
But how does it know it was in a different country? How does it know about countries and borders?
Because, they have language and apparently can see the future. So, I mean...
but how do they know about borders? I mean, there's so many things wrong with it.
Yeah, that's nothing. I mean, we've gone past that. Yeah. We've accepted a lot on this.
We're talking about time travelling.
Yeah. So...
Forget the border thing.
So her thing was like, maybe leave a hamburger around. He goes, he's probably not going to eat the hamburger, but he might like to see it. To make the cat feel less homesick.
What station? What channel is this on?
This is on ITV.
But who were the
It's
presenters?
on Channel 3. Philip Schofield and Holly.
And were they laughing or were they taking it seriously?
I was rapt. I wasn't really. They were like nodding and going, okay.
But that almost make them more culpable. If I went to a local nut house and brought out a lunatic and stuck him in front of the TV, that makes me worse than them. So if you're sat there going, you're time traveling cat or whatever it is, or whatever it was, how can that's mental health?
Yeah.
But how can that be? I don't understand how that can be allowed on TV. If they were crying with laughter,
it's entertaining. Like as
abuse.
I said, it's one of the weirdest things I've seen like in a while. I was like,
but that was on mainstream TV.
Normally I have to get on a night bus to see that kind of thing.
I mean, we haven't been invited on this. So if we're beneath this time traveling cat, that says a lot about us.
Yeah, to be fair.
I mean,
if we get the cat on the show, if we got his agent, like, could you do ratings? Yeah, couldn't afford him.
I mean, the cats weren't traveling time; they just had sort of mental powers that allowed them to see the past and the present. The future, yeah.
But also, if it can see the future, would the cat need an agent because it would know what the invite was?
Can she read any animal? Is that her conduit to the psychic world? Is just that cat?
I think it was just cats, and she was just reading
on a broom.
She had she was Skyping.
This wasn't over Halloween,
like a cat lady.
Yeah.
Did she look like a cat lady?
She looked like a lunatic.
So yes, then.
Yeah. They tend to go hand in hand. There's a lot of overlap in the Venn diagram world.
Could you smell the cat
of
through the
lunatics
screen?
And cat people. But she seemed to have a very nice house, and I'm sure she charges a lot of money per hour to have
people will always
cats
pay money for pets.
That's
Sorry, that was really unprofessional, that laughing. But it was just the fact you were just like, and the cat's telepathic.
I'm just annoyed at the channel.
The
the channel is like, that's pretty. Oh, who's it? I'm not joking. Somebody that turned us down. Where's my phone?
I mean, that's a long list.
Yeah, come on.
No, one of the people. Oh, I've turned my bloody phone off.
So yeah, this is what I do most days. And then I've been watching a lot of Trump fan compilations recently, freaking out.
I mean, it's all gone very quiet, hasn't it? Like, as in art, it all seems to.
Oh no, they've been doubling down.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, saying, oh no, he's waiting for the He's waiting for the last minute, and then he's going to release all the information, and then the Supreme Court will somehow magically give him the election.
Yeah,
But Barr's done him now to say, for William Barr to say, look, there's no evidence. That's it. It's done.
Yeah, the Attorney General.
Because he's the peak of everybody below, all the Republicans below. So if he's saying it, that means they've all gone into line.
I've read some of the court transcripts, some of the court documents that that Giuliani put forward. And in all those court documents, he says he categorically states in the first couple of paragraphs, we are not claiming fraud. We are categorically not claiming any fraud in the election. Instead, we are saying that the election has been unfair to Trump, and particularly the media has been unfair, and that's why we believe that we should disenfranchise.
But they've had to admit we have no evidence.
That's what I'm saying. They literally said, we have no evidence. They were presenting Google searches, not articles on Google, but screenshots of Google searches that Trump won the election. And they're like, well, 50 million results. Can't lie with that.
How is that their argument?
Because there's no evidence.
No argument. They're admitting to not having
but Biden still won 50 million.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything anyway. So
79 million, or he might have topped 80 now.
I think it's about 80. But literally, they're putting tweets in. They're like, this guy tweeted that he thinks
somebody
that Trump,
said,
not even that Trump's been very unfairly treated by the media, and he thinks that he should won the election.
Do you think they're just doing that? Rudy Giuliani or whoever is just doing it just to look busy in the eyes of their overlord
and charge him? He's charging.
Yeah,
I suppose it's always going to come down to that, and we're making money from this. It's just keep him going, keep the idiot pumping money through us.
It's all a grift. It's all a grift for the people left. Like there's a couple. They're split between the real hardcore grifters and the zealots.
Right, I don't want to keep going on back. Honestly, I'm tired of it. I don't even listen to him anymore. Right, so he sent the pilot into a couple of channels. Here's one of them. Can you read the first line? Okay. It's just a strange way.
I'm going to start crying here. Dear Theo, Charles and Andrew, thank you for sending us your script. I've now read and discussed it with my colleagues in the development team. You want me to carry on?
Yeah, okay. Just the next bit.
We enjoyed the pace and humour that you delivered, and we found Theo, in caps, and engaging lead.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah,
lead, but I'm afraid we don't think there is enough fresh narrative to keep.
Well, that'll do anyway. But yeah, you just heard that. You heard the main bit. We found Theo an engaging lead. Why would it be in capitals? Is that some weird punctuation?
Well, quite often you type it when you're
it's generic.
It's odd in an email, but for example, in a script.
First time,
first time you write the name. Only the first time you write the name, you write it in capitals.
I've never heard it. I don't know anything about punctuation. I don't know nothing.
Well, you know that, and
I've learned there and they are and two O's and all, and I thought that's enough, but it's just always something else.
What was the context of the message you were asking about whether a shop should be called something or named something?
Oh, what was it?
Well, you said to me, should I say that?
Oh, no, yeah, because I always think when I'm saying a sentence, that doesn't sound right. Because I try and pick myself up on things. And I was thinking, if you was to explain to somebody, there's a shop called something, but isn't called to shout. It should be
That's
named.
why I'm saying that, it's...
If something's a name, like a brand or a thing, like if I say, he's called Charles, would you say he's named Charles?
No,
that sounds too formal.
You might, named would be the formal version of called.
It's a proper noun.
Yeah, this is called a mug. So it's not. I'm not going. Mug.
It's an item.
It's not mug. It is a mug.
This item is called.
But if there's a name to it, then it's named.
I think maybe that's the distinction.
It's been branded, sort of thing.
The English language makes no sense. For example, the word I saw this in a meme. So forgive me, but it's the word oceanic, and someone pointed out that all three C's in oceanic all the C's in oceanic are said differently.
What do you mean?
Is it oceanic? Yeah. No, what was it?
The three C's?
Oh no, there was three. No, it wasn't. It wasn't three. It was. It wasn't that word now. But yeah, oceanic is the C's in that are all pronounced differently, aren't they?
But there's only one C.
Oh no. There's two. Oceanic.
Oh, C. Oh, K.
Sorry, it was another word.
It should be a K at the end.
Yeah, but there was another word that had three C's. They were saying like these words all have this, more than one C, and they're all pronounced differently. So it wasn't that one that obviously that has three in.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. Like when you were saying it to me, I was thinking, oh, make your minds up. Like, come on.
It's the English language. We like
named, called. Called should be to shout. I called out to him.
No, it's because English has just been...
I still forget about the less and fewer.
So fewer is when you have a quantifiable amount, whereas less is generally considered. So for example, okay, you ate less meat, you ate fewer sausages.
It's
Because
the same thing
sausages
to
is
me.
a thing you can measure, whereas meat is
It's overall.
So yeah, less
Overall is
broadly
less.
broadly speaking, that's not.
Did you see a QI with Stephen Fry, and he was talking to Little Britain? Who's the bald fella in Little Britain?
Matt
Lucas.
Lucas.
Yeah, did you see that when he says something about it, and he says blah blah blah, a fewer of them thing, and Stephen Fry says, excuse me, you mean less? Oh no, the other way around. He says less, and he says, yeah, I think you mean fewer. And he goes, oh, and he goes, Stephen. He goes, yeah. He goes, and he says this, right? It's Andrew. Knock knock.
Who's there?
To
who?
no, it's to whom. I thought, oh, that was quite good.
That's quick. That's
Let's say no Trump, right? So, although we got Trumpisms, Alex, can you? We're going to end the show eventually with one Trumpism, if you can find one for us.
Well, let's talk about. We haven't talked about the good news.
Oh, that was it. Pacific Ocean. That's why.
Pacific
Ocean. That's it. So I was thinking of, wrong. I knew it was something oceanic. Yeah, Pacific Ocean. Every sea is different.
Oh right, yeah. Hang on. Pacific.
So sir, the first C is a sir, ka, and then sh for the
ocean.
Yeah.
Okay. What was you going to say?
I was saying the big news is that the vaccine is getting rolled out.
You mean Bill Gates' mind control terror?
It's the kill switch. Okay, it's not a mind control. It's the kill switch. Okay, I watched a man rant on YouTube about this, and he sounded very convincing. He nearly cried at one point as well. It was a great show.
What? He's a doctor or something?
No, he looked unemployed, but he was.
He's crying about what, a vaccine coming out?
Yeah.
Why, he's happy?
Brain control.
No, because all the conspiracy theorists believe that COVID was invented by Bill Gates so that he could, because he put money into, because COVID is obviously all the types of this respiratory, or is one of the names for all these types of respiratory illnesses, hence COVID-19. Mm-hmm. So he, I think, put money into vaccines for when it was SARS, I believe, which is also a type of, because this is COVID, this is COV SARS, blah, 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 whatever its proper name is. So he said his prediction was that, okay, SARS, we kind of had a lucky break with that, because although I think it's more deadly than coronavirus, it's less easy to transmit.
Yes, it's less contagious, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using the common terms, even though they're all SARS. Anyway, so because he did that, and I think he trademarked something with the word COVID in it, or copyrighted or whatever, everyone's like, oh, he's invented coronavirus, so then he can plant chips in us to track us and control our brains.
666, mark of the beast.
Even though we all have a tracking device in our pockets, it's called a mobile phone.
That we've all voluntarily got.
Yeah, exactly.
Last week, I think I might have said before, last week, there were still people walking around in the supermarket with no mask on.
Yeah, people on the tube train here. People on the tube today.
You just, I don't even know. It's just gone. I don't know where
we
it's
deserve
gone
extinction. It's fine.
It's sort of like, we're going to destroy. You go, do you know what? I can't complain. Just get rid of us. There's not enough of us to fight back the stupidity. Just get rid of us. But just and I don't even like the people in the shops don't say anything. That's what f's me off. That's your jobs. Bloody well say something. Today I saw two people. It was in the Greggs Bakers. Just stood next to me, no mask, not even bothered. And I think, And I was talking to somebody about the track and trace thing, and they said, I'm going to put my thing in here when I go through, like scan it. They said, I thought you didn't believe in tracking. You go, and let's get the 10-minute conversation. Go, look, do you know what? I don't use a thing when I go through the underground. I won't do it. I will pay my bill. No, you're not having access to my account. I'll pay it cash in the thing. You go, but if people are dying, yes, it's common sense. Maybe scan. But then you're giving your thing to the man. You go, no, at a certain point, you go, I understand what you're saying, but you've got to understand if something happens. But just, oh my God, why am I arguing with him?
Truth is, they've already got, if they want that information, it's already there. You don't, I mean, I know you can make it easier or harder to obtain, but I mean, if someone is really out there, if the Illuminati really are out there controlling everything and cataloguing everything, that information is already there.
There's nothing more they need. They've got everything. If you had a phone for more than 5 years, they've got everything they need for the rest of your life.
Which is why I never understood it, because like all these conspiracy theories, they're like all this shadowy cabal of people, maybe Jews, maybe not, maybe globalists, maybe not. They control everything and they run everything, but then they want to trash all the system and make everyone poor so that they can control everything. And it's just like, well, don't they already control everything?
Yeah. Why?
If they can fake a virus and do all this stuff and, tank economies, then they've already won. Why do they need more power? Like, it doesn't make any sense. They already have the power to do
why
this.
stick their neck out even more?
Like,
do you know, right, so I don't know anything about history, right? You know, the Jewish thing and the Holocaust and all that, and now people talking about it again. Why do people not like Jewish people? What happened? Why do they keep popping up again? Were they disliked before World War II?
Yeah, it's basically as long as there have been Jewish people.
That's what I mean. So why did they kill God or something?
Well, I mean, the Christian thing is obviously they are blamed for. It depends on which gospel.
Did they kill Jesus?
No, the Romans did, because it all comes down to excuse me. That when Pontius Pilate, who's the Roman governor, says. Bearing in mind, there's no record of this ever being a common thing, but it was the idea. No. I mean, there was a historical person, Jesus of Nazareth. But anyhow, that when he was arrested, there was a thing of like, as a tradition, because it's Passover, we can free either Barabbas, who's this criminal,
the murderer, who's the murderer,
or we can. Free this man Jesus,
Pontius Pilate, the governor.
From whom we get the expression "wash your hands."
Yes, and he literally brought out a bowl. He's said to have brought out a bowl, and he washed his hands in front of the crowd so that.
So in some versions of the gospel,
what's the washing your hands thing?
As in he absolves himself of the sin.
Okay, he's like, it's not me, it's the crowd who wants to kill Jesus.
So he physically does a sort of ablution.
Okay. But it's a weird thing, because that kind of justifies, because the Catholic Church then became based in Rome. And then they had all the links to Rome. They kind of didn't want to be involved in the murder of the Messiah, so they kind of had to sort of obfuscate that. So it's a weird.
So in some versions of the Gospels, is just give us free Barabbas, blah blah blah, and then in some versions it goes further and says, and let Jesus's blood be on us and our children, i.e. the Jews accepting responsibility for crucifixion of Christ. So again, some made up tradition with faked, everything like that. So it's a hatchet job completely. I mean, there's all sorts of theories. One is that because Christianity, there was a papal bull issued in the Middle Ages saying you can't, because the Pope was like just trying to stop people taking, every once in a while they try to do something good. So it was to stop usury, to stop lending at high interest. And that's also outlawed in Islam, but in Judaism, there's no such. They do they basically, it's basically accounted for in fees, essentially. But in Judaism, there is no such law. So obviously people could go to the Jewish population, wherever they might be, the Jewish diaspora, and say, can we have a loan? Now, everyone is happy to take a loan. Everyone always likes having money. What do people dislike most about loans? Having to pay it back. So, I mean...
you're greedy. You
want the money back. So in some instances, it would become, for example, they would lend to kings, in the same way that countries borrow from banks now. Kings would borrow from Jewish bankers, and then the interest would come, and they'd say, right, they're all devil worshippers, and we need to slaughter them all. And because they eat babies.
Well, see, that's all very.
That's my theory. I don't know that's the actual reason.
I mean, they've historically been a minority group, and I think minority group in a lot of different countries, and they have their own traditions and their own language and stuff. And people do victimize. People scapegoat and victimize people like that. Historically, any sort of ethnic minority in countries, unfortunately.
If I was to find a sort of a local skinhead and asked him why he didn't like Jewish people, would he repeat everything you said?
No, I don't think he'd. It would all
he wouldn't
be,
break it down systematically.
It would be it would be just. But again, the whole idea, this idea that Jewish people use money to control, that they have all the money, that they're this, they're that, they're greedy,
they run the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what they call the Jewish question.
But the thing is, if there was no Jewish people, there'd just be another group.
Yeah.
It's nothing more than that. It's just a group.
Yeah, it's usually. I mean, I always feel that with issues like this, issues like this, but I always feel when people scapegoat minority groups, they are obfuscating systemic issues in a political system or a society or an economy onto usually a minority group that has nothing to do with them.
Or even on a more sort of pro-group basis, just internally themselves, they've got some weak character trait that makes them just hate other people. And then just get going. It's
always easier to blame the other.
There's nobody happy and successful that hates people. There's always something wrong with that individual.
Because you're like, okay, why am I getting paid $9 an hour.
Yeah,
and they go, it's not because my boss is a scumbag and he's not paying me a decent living wage, and I'm working loads of hours and he's not paying me, what I deserve to be paid. No, it's because of Mexican people. Yeah.
How do you know? Well, the newspaper.
They go, well, because they look a bit different from you. But you're like, yeah, they do look a bit different. You come back to the fact
that media has to have you, like you go back, you watch the Irish. Do we hate the Irish anymore? No. Oh, we moved on from that. Have we the 80s and 70s? Oh, we moved. Who did we go on to then? Oh, well, we had the thing with the Polish people. Oh, do we hate them anymore? No, it was too Muslims. No. You go, oh, but oh no. Okay, I get it now. You're just generating people to hate. Oh, right.
And it's always the same. It's always the same rhetoric. You go back, famous. I don't know. I watched a video recently, a while back, and this guy, he was listing all this racist rhetoric about sort of the new wave of immigrants. And in America, they were saying this about Swedish people. These bloody Swedes coming over here, not learning the language, taking our women. They don't integrate. They're just trying to turn this place into Sweden. They're bringing all the Swedish problems over, honestly. And then the Germans came and they said exactly the same thing about the Germans, about the Irish, about the Spanish, about the Italians.
But it's also interesting who said it as well. Bearing in mind, unless you're a Native American, you're not really in a position to be like, who are these people coming over here, stealing all the land and doing all this?
Oh, and if their skin color can, just to make it a lot easier to hate, if their skin color can be, then we hit the jackpot.
Oh, yeah, well, if you can look,
it's
at
a bit more difficult.
And tell, and if there's
Yeah.
outward differences, then that's even better.
I suppose perhaps again, possibly certainly in Europe with Jews, because obviously, if you go back far enough, at one point there wouldn't be very many. Most Europeans would not have encountered a black person or an Arabic person or a Persian person or whatever, or someone from India
or Catholic in some places.
There's also that. Whereas
a
obviously
slightly different type of white person.
Yeah. Whereas the Jewish diaspora was spread out much more across Europe, but also out of populations easy to identify because of custom, because of dress, because of ethnicity. Because often Jews would live in sort of cloistered is the wrong word, but they would live in very much in their own community. In the same way that Brits, when they go to Spain, and they all live in these big.
Well, there's tradition. I mean,
English enclave. It's the same idea.
If you're more orthodox, you have to. You're not allowed to operate a machine. You have to walk to synagogue. So you do have to live within sort of walking distance traditionally of a place of religious worship.
So we're running out of time.
That was a brief history of
there's a comic book philosophical question popped up in my head the other day, so I kept it. We did have Alex on the show the other day. He stepped in for you while you was in hospital.
Well, unfortunately,
I have to admit, we did end up talking about comic books while you weren't here. But see, I'm trying to. There's a bit of who's the king here, because you are addicted to comic book. You're a long-standing, full-on, spending money right the way through. But he has worked in a comic book store. But then you do live with your mum sometimes. So it's sort of like, who's the real? I can't really. But I've got a question. But so don't let me forget. But so what happened at the hospital then? So
they rushed me in and said. Well, I went to the GP and he was like, I think it might be your appendix. I was like, I don't think it is my appendix.
Are you getting sharp pains? Was it just what's the pain?
Dull ache.
Really. Okay. Right.
But it was in the appendix spot. And I was like, I don't think it is, mate. And he goes, right, you need to go A&E right now. And I'm like, I don't want to go to A&E. Please don't send me to A&E. I've got stuff to do. I've got a podcast to do, damn it.
Yeah.
What am I going to tell the boys? What am I going to tell my boys? My beautiful boys.
So what? You phoned up what? Who's saying this to you? You got to go A&E?
The GP.
Oh, you went to the doctors?
Yeah, I went to the GP. I had an appointment with the GP.
You mean you didn't just Google it and self-diagnose?
No. that way lies...
This is 2020.
That way lies terror sweats over cancer.
But you can bypass the doctor if you just save your time. If you just go to Google. No?
Well, I've tried to ignore it, and I've tried to do lots of stuff. And I've tried to eat better and drink lots of water and blah, blah, blah. But nothing's worked. So I was like, okay, let's go to the doctor. He was like, go to A&E. And my experience, because I went to A&E, I'll keep this quick, about 5-6 months ago, during the first lockdown, I went to A&E. And there, it was night and day, the difference. Because in the first lockdown, I went to A&E, they had two separate sections. They had the COVID side and the non-COVID side. Yeah. And they took my blood pressure and my heart rate and to breathe thing, gave me all these tests, and then they let me in the A&E. And then every person I encountered, they gave me the checklist questions. If you if you had a dry cough, if you had a loss of taste, or if you had sweats, blah blah blah. If you had this important days, I was like, no. This time around, I was just in a skanky A&E. They just let me in. Everyone piled in.
Where was it?
That was in Reading. They had the oxygenator thing that reads your oxygenated blood. They stuck it on my finger, didn't wipe it, and then this someone else came along, stuck it on. I was like, for God's sake. Yeah. Nurses were wearing the masks under their chin.
Oh, that's more offensive than not having.
And I was like,
all.
okay. And then I sat on the thing. They gave me a blood test, and I sat on this dirty bed. And I'm not kidding. There was blood on the side of it, and I was just like, and I was like, this is a pandemic. This is that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and the rates, the hospitalization rates are higher than the first lockdown, and I was just shocked basically at the lax attitude. I've got a lot of time for the NHS, since I'm having a go, but I just think
no, it's the system. It's not the people. It's the system.
Yeah.
That person might have done 20 hours straight and forgot to put the mask on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's a very tough job, and I couldn't do it, and I wouldn't want to do it. And hats off to them, more power to them. And they're getting shafted, especially with pay freezes recently. So
yeah, I'd say thank you NHS, but always thank you, especially when pay rises are needed. Not just in times where we want to show off to other people. They should get more money. So go on.
But yeah, it was really dirty. They got me to the surgical assessment unit, and they were like, okay, we've got a couple of spare beds, lie down there. And I was like, there's like poo on the floor. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll tidy that up, cool. And then they just went and like straightened the bed out a bit, wiped the poo off, and
turn
I was
the
like,
pillow over.
And at no point was there any antiseptic spray used. I'm just saying, like, just because it's a pandemic, and hospitals are dirty at the best of times, but I mean, there was no antiseptic spray used, and I just thought, I've worked as a waiter, and I wouldn't leave it. I wouldn't let a customer sit down on a table unless I'd given it a wipe. Yeah. Honestly, unless I'd given it a spray, given it a wipe, make
especially
sure it was
now.
nice and clean.
If you were there now, you'd make sure that was like the first thing.
And I just thought it doesn't take. It only takes 2 seconds. You don't even have to wipe it. Just go squirt, and let it just evaporate. And I know that it sounds like I'm having a go, but I just thought I said it was just night and day, the precautions really.
So they did. What happened to you then?
They gave me, literally, the surgeon came up, gave me a poke, said it's not an appendix. Why the hell did they send you here?
And walked
out. Yeah. He said, why did they send you here? I don't understand. And I'm like,
God.
The GP told me to come. I came with a letter as well. He printed out a letter, gave me a letter.
A note from mum.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to come. And he's just like, ugh. And I was just like, and he just walked off. And I was like, can I go then?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, what next? And he's like, I don't know, have a scan or something. And I'm like, do you do that? And he's like, no. And I was like, how do I do that now? Like, do I go to the scan now? Who do I ask for the scan? And I was like, I don't know what the hell to do. And like, he's like, oh, well, someone will book it in for you. And then they were like, I was like, okay, so what, I can go? And they were like, yeah. And then they were like, do you want your discharge forms? And I was like, do I need them? And they were like, no. And they go, it'll take like 15 minutes to fill them out. And I was like, can I just go then?
Give me some direction as to what do
and
I
they
just
were like,
say
yeah,
here?
just leave. And like, I was still struggling. I was like struggling out in pain. And I was just like, I feel like I got gypped here, man. I feel like.
Did you come out of any medication or
no,
anything?
They didn't give me any painkillers.
So it's just another completely wasted point that everything, the whole time was wasted.
Yeah.
I said, that's why I don't bother going unless you have to. Like,
this is what I've been saying. My family's like, go to the doctor, go to the hospital. And I'm like, I keep on going, and they get ratty with me and send me home. And like,
yeah, it's just like, why go? Why am I going to go next time? Like, then something happens. You go, oh well, he had this thing, and then
this is bad because I don't want it to be one of those times where like you go to the doctor, you hear someone goes to the doctor like 30 times with like a weird arm, and then like their arm falls off, and then they're like, yeah, I told you I had a weird arm, and they were like. We should have done something about that.
In this investigation. Well, it's tough now. My arm's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
So
you're doing that, you've got a scan coming up.
Yeah, I've got a scan coming up.
Bloody hell. And it's the same pain from like a couple of years sort of thing?
This has been going on, for a couple of years now.
Oh. Right, well, let's end this show. Oh, hang on. Have you got your Trumpism there, Alex? He's looking through Andrew's book, the little book of Trumpisms. Yep. Give him the mic. Let's hear his vocal tones. Give it to him. Give him the mic. What an international show we are.
So this is how we're finishing the show?
Yeah. Well, actually, I've got a question after we're gone, yeah.
So Trumpisms, this is on shaking hands, and he said this in Time magazine in 1999. I think the handshake is barbaric. Shaking hands, you catch the flu, you catch this, you catch all sorts of things.
But you caught corona. with his little hand.
I don't think he called it with his little hand.
I think that he just didn't like shaking hands because of his little hands. But the problem is, because they've tried to hide that he's fat, they have to blanket him in a thing, but then the proportions are wrong because his hands look small, but they've had to put a blanket over him to hide the fat. They said he was like 215 pounds, and the doctor said he's like 280. A friend of mine, I met somebody like this. He said when I was working with him, and I wasn't there, and he said you met a surgeon, and he said he just looks at you and he guesses your exact weight, and he was a fighter, and he said he knew his exact weight to the pound. I can't remember, 186, and he said you're 186. Yeah, and I met somebody like that, and I asked them, and they got it bang on. I had to measure myself the next day. I thought, isn't that funny? They're just used to seeing bodies. Right, so we'll end on this. I always think who wins it. Whenever I hear a superhero, I always try and put it in my head. And I thought, right, so who wins in this? I've forgotten the other one. Who's the one with the rings, the Avengers? Oh, I know who it is. Yeah, that's why. Yeah,
Doctor Strange?
The rings? The Green Lantern? No.
So I realised when I put that on there,
Yeah.
somebody said to me, oh, that's like that thing off The Watchmen.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, well, yeah, I wonder why I went for that. But anyway, and then I thought, oh, I haven't seen that for a while, so I watched it again. And I thought, that's quite a good film.
Yeah.
And then the fella at the end, is it Ozymandias?
Ozymandias, yeah.
Yeah.
Who would win in a fight? Him
Yeah.
or who's the fellow at the end of the Avengers?
Thanos?
Yeah, who wins?
Well, Thanos.
But the other one could do any time travel thing. The
Do you
blue
mean-
fella out of
No,
Watchmen.
that's
Dr. Manhattan.
Oh. What did I say? Ozymandias.
Yeah, Ozymandias is the
that's
bad guy. Well, spoilers. Whoops. Fucking hell.
Come on, lad, you be professional.
Shit.
Spoilers.
That was
fair,
quite
I
a
mean,
big one, actually.
It's a 35-year-old comic
Yeah,
book.
but that
and
was quite a big, bearing in mind that's the
I know.
whole mystery. Whoops.
And what, a 15-year-old film? 12-year-old?
Sorry,
11,
everyone.
12 years? Yeah.
So go on.
Who would win? Thanos with the glove or without?
Oh, that's the
With
power.
the glove.
But he hasn't got
But
any power without it.
he's still pretty. He's monster.
He beats up the
tough.
Hulk.
Yeah.
What
he's
does he
monster
have?
tough without it?
Yeah, but it's physically tough.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any powers like time
He's nearly impervious. I mean, he's nearly impervious
without
to
the glove.
Yeah. That's why he's so dangerous with it. And then you get.
But that's all physical, though, isn't it? Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't win against the blue fella.
No, the guy, because he can vaporize people.
Yeah, right. So they're both at full power.
Okay.
They go at it. Who wins?
Probably Dr. Manhattan, because Dr. Manhattan doesn't need to be corporeal. I mean, we talk about Thanos from the films.
As opposed to what?
Because he
Yeah,
he
it's me
becomes
you're talking
non-corporeal.
to.
Okay, yeah. So from the films, because I think
Yeah.
in the comics he becomes non-corporeal.
Right. Okay. What do you mean by that?
He doesn't have a physical body anymore. They trick him into not having a physical body, or
Okay.
leaving his body.
Right. Yeah.
in
So
it.
the film versions.
Okay.
Who wins?
Then Dr. Manhattan, because he can literally dissipate and then reform his body.
so
he doesn't
can the
need
other
to be
one.
a physical body.
So can the other one.
Technically, he could, yes.
If it was like top trumps, who would have the most points out of all? So you've got this, and he's got a bit of that.
I still think Dr. Manhattan, because he can see what would happen, wouldn't he? But then he might also see, spoiler alert, that he's going to die.
And then he has the time stone. I mean,
This is a wonderful question of ours.
Superman, I haven't finished reading. I did buy all of Doomsday Clock, which was the sequel.
Watchmen.
It's the Watchmen sequel.
Right. Okay.
And Superman, I think, does beat Dr. Manhattan in that. They'd certainly have a big old fight.
Where does Superman beat? That's just physical strength.
Yeah, that's. I said I haven't.
How does he beat him?
I think he punches him like he does most stuff.
But why don't you just evaporate him?
Because he's Superman.
Right. So have you, as an immovable force, an unstoppable object, with what I've just asked you, they can't win.
It's because they're both bald.
Yeah, there's always the thing. I told you, it's prejudice,
the
full on
villains.
prejudice.
No, watch. Dr. Manhattan is, well, I suppose he's not necessarily, he's not evil, certainly.
He's apathetic, which
Yeah.
is even
You
scarier.
did- Andrew found out what The Rock's real name is.
What do you mean I found out? I know what the
You send me the thing of his
Dwayne?
real name.
Oh,
It's not Dwayne
was,
Johnson.
it was a joke. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was real.
Theodore. It was like Theodore Rockford because it's the spoof. I think it comes from the spoof rapper's name. So you've got Ice Cube is Icelandic cubicle.
Oh, right, I see.
Little bow wow.
Right, so we've got to get out of it. What is your
Boward.
answer, Charles? They both meet head on. You've got to put your money down.
Probably Dr. Manhattan.
Why? Give me your reason.
Because Dr. Manhattan has more of the. They both have godlike powers, but Dr. Manhattan has more of the attitude of a god, where Thanos is still a bit of a street punk.
I don't know why that makes any difference.
because they both almost have unlimited power, but it's about one has the mindset to actually use it.
Is it really who gets the first punch in? Because one's going to evaporate the other one or time something the other one first, or has one got something over the other one?
I mean, Thanos in the films holds back because he does have all that power, but he does hold back. In the comics, it's more interesting because he does effectively become a god and becomes sort of non-corporeal, but then he's doubt. He knows that he is not good enough to be a god.
So
and
his
it's the doubt.
It's
these mental doubts. He knows that he doesn't. He's.
But Thanos is quite philosophical. He's not going to sucker punch him, sort of thing, is he?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I think that there is an element of him holding back.
Oh, but you're going Dr. Manhattan, Alex. Oh, the other. You want to pass him the mic there? Let's see what happens here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens here. What is your answer, Alex? Who wins?
Oh, do you want like a philosophical answer, or do you want like an actual answer?
I don't know the difference between the two, so just give me an answer.
Yeah. I would probably say, with the glove with all the stones, I'd say Thanos.
Oh.
Yeah. But only
Charles.
because I think he would, I think the apathy and the sort of Dr. Manhattan's apathy would prevent him from getting in the fight earlier.
Right.
Whereas I think Thanos would just go.
He will want to win. He has more will to win.
Yeah, he has more will to win.
Whereas the other fella would just see the whole situation and go, "It's not. This is a pointless situation." So
yeah.
Oh.
A friend of mine
Sorry
once
about that, Charles.
saw Stan Lee at a Comic-Con, and there was like a Q&A thing, and someone of course always asks the question. Like he's been asked it for like 40 years. Like who would win in a fight between like Galactus and Daredevil? And Stanley went, whoever. I could write either one of them to win. Depends on what the story dictates.
That's
and I
true,
think
yeah.
that's the answer. I think to
So
all
more
those.
friction between.
I mean, the Hulk's fought the Thing like 3-4 times.
What's the Thing?
From
Not the
Rock
John
dude.
Carpenter.
No, the Rock dude from the Fantastic Four.
I don't know. Oh, that thing. Oh, okay.
Ben Grimm.
Yeah, Ben.
It's clobbering.
He's like a brick wall. or something.
Yeah, he's like a big
Another
rock
bald.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about the big lumbering bald oaf too. That's a full-on like prejudice. That's full-on. I might have that.
You're discriminated against.
Yeah, I've already been.
That's what it is.
Anyway. Right, well, there you go. That's the show. So, anything else you want to say? Are you in pain at the moment?
Not too bad.
Oh, bloody hell.
Bit of discomfort still, but not
Okay.
too bad.
Andrew, anything you want to say?
Carthage must be destroyed.
Louis, save us. Have you got anything? Louis, how are you, mate? You're right.
It's nearly Christmas.
Way.
Is that a sarcasm? It's not that late.
Vaccine on the way, people.
Yeah, a bit of hope there for us all. Okay, well, that's the show. Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
We set the world to rights, I feel, yeah.
Yeah. We're
off.
We're off. Quick, he started the engine. Quick, the
Right,
cabs
bye,
are going.
everyone.
Right, cheers.
Here's